This is the CCW Digital Speaker Spotlight Series. I'm Brian Cantor, Principal Analyst for CCW Digital, and your host for today's discussion. We can say people are the heart of the customer experience. And believe me, we do. All the time. We have all kinds of cliches and messages about the role our employees play in connecting with our customers. But what exactly does, and more importantly, what exactly should that role entail? How do we create an environment in which people are actually making those meaningful connections? And how do we do so as our processes continue to evolve and as our new technology arrives that forever changes the way we interact with customers, the way we build that journey? This is a question that is top of mind for all experienced leaders, as well as, frankly, the entire C-suite. It simply gets to the heart of how we do business in today's world. It's also going to be a line of discussion at the upcoming CCO Exchange, May 14th to 16th in Chicago. One of our speakers, Mel Penna of Comcast, will reveal how she builds strategic alignment between people, processes, and technology with this idea of leveraging the human side of the customer experience to make those stronger connections. But you don't have to wait until May to hear from her because she's here with us right now. Mel, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Brian.
Definitely, we're thrilled to have you not only today, but of course joining us in May. Again, as I mentioned, you can look anywhere. You don't have to look very far to find this dialogue about the role people play. But oftentimes, again, it's all about cliches and surface level discussions, and really being able to speak to someone who focuses on this day in and day out and really tries to build that strategic alignment, that clear vision around the role of people. That's going to be so valuable as we start to try and build these more empowered, more customer-centric experiences. So very thrilled to dive into the discussion. To kick things off, let's start at the top. So Mel, can you describe your role at Comcast? Why does it make sense for you to be part of the customer experience organization, and especially why is it so important right now?
Sure. Well, I'm currently in the role of Senior Vice President of Customer Experience Workforce Alignment, but I'll say I spent over 20 years here at Comcast in various HR roles. So this is a newly created role within the last year and a half, focused principally on how employees can be the catalyst to transforming the customer experience. Going back in time, when Charlie Heron, our Chief Customer Experience Officer, launched the function, he asked me in my HR capacity if I would partner with him on assisting with some of the customer transformation initiatives that were underway. And so I was on point with his team to do that. But about a year and a half into his role, he realized that he under-indexed on the importance of employees in really driving customer transformation, and he asked me at that time to join the team.
So I want to talk about, obviously Charlie's overall vision and really where you fit into that. So how do the goals of your specific team and your specific function kind of, ladder up to what Charlie's doing from a broader CX perspective?
Sure. So let me take a step back and describe what this function is. So in this role, I have, 8 or so team members that are principally focused on the following key areas. One is just from the standpoint of integration and adoption, are we actually identifying the right problems in the business? So are we solutioning against the right issues? And then are we gathering the right people to solution those issues? And do we have the right sponsorship in order to get those solutions designed and implemented? So my team leans in a lot on just organizing around the work to make sure that when we do solution and deploy, we've got very quick adoption among the employees. So there's that component of work, which is largely organizational design, team effectiveness, change management, and adoption. The second body of work focuses around culture and workforce. So what are we doing differently within the company to drive different behaviors? And what are our accountability mechanisms to reinforce those new behaviors? That's one piece of that. And then to the degree that we continue to automate and transform the business, there's an accompanying impact on the workforce. So how are we seeing that shift? How are we preparing our workforce for new roles for tomorrow? What does that look like so that we can anticipate what people will be doing and are well positioned in the marketplace to acquire that talent or evolve our existing talent? And then the final bucket is really what are those things we know to be barriers to employees being effective in delivering an excellent customer experience. And those are anything from policy issues to process issues to tool issues. What do we do to unstick that? So my team is focused on those three large bodies of work. When we think about the goals within Comcast, Charlie's goals with customer experience derive from the cable division goals. So when you think about each year our goals come out and they largely center around innovation, customer experience, driving growth in the business. Charlie then takes that and he culls it down to what can we do in our space in those three key areas. And I, as an enablement function, look for ways to support the initiatives that fall into those key buckets in terms of how do we better align the teams to deliver those key initiatives, how can I ensure adoption of those initiatives, what am I doing to solution against known barriers that get in the way of an exceptional customer experience. So my goals ladder up and in some cases are enabling to my teammates in the delivery of Charlie's goals.
Now, certainly you're going to be driving the strategy that really empowers the team to kind of meet those broader goals and really leverage the people within Comcast to contribute to the overall experience. But if we start at the beginning, it's really important, and we hear this all the time, to have great people. We so often hear that a great customer experience, in fact, begins with great people. So when you look at what it takes to be a great employee, what a great customer-facing employee, what qualities they possess in today's environment, what might some of those be?
Right. Well, and we're seeing this shift because we're actually seeing the nature of our relationship change with our customers. The more we automate, the more the low-hanging kind of transactional issues can be resolved through self-service or even in product. The dialogue that we're having with our customers is changing. It's more of a relationship. It's more of a dialogue of understanding what their needs are and how our products and services can meet their needs. So when we think about, our workforce and how it's evolving, we're now thinking about, who are the people that love technology, that get excited about technology because we have the best products in the market. So we want people that love our technology, work with it at ease, see the value proposition of it. Who are the people who love people? Because all of this is really about feeling as comfortable talking to somebody new in a store as you'd be talking to a neighbor at a barbecue. Whipping out your phone and showing all of the new features, pulling out the voice remote and being at ease with showcasing our product. So people that love talking to people that love to learn. One of the things that is a stress point for us now among the 90,000 cable employees is how can we get our own employees excited about our products and services and reacclimate, re-educate them so that they feel confident and fluent when talking to friends, family, neighbors, potential customers, and current customers. So people who love to learn. And then finally, because we are seeing this shift, particularly at the frontline level in our call centers, people that are adept with using our social tools and are comfortable navigating away from the phone to more of a digital chat environment and being able to talk to our customers in an asynchronous way, on their terms. So people who are savvy in the technology space and comfortable having a dialogue in that fashion.
And certainly, I think you point out some great qualities there, being technologically savvy, being comfortable in digital environments, and of course, really having that passion for connecting with people. Certainly, I can't imagine anyone would disagree that would create a great blueprint for connecting with customers. But let's be honest, the customer engagement space, has historically had a stigma about what the work entails. On top of that, you also have more competition in the job market. You don't have that same degree of unemployment. It's sort of a seller's market, if you will, in terms of, employees do have options and there is competition. And so facing that stigma, facing more competition, how do you attract this ideal talent? Do you have to, frame the job in a certain way? Do you have to promise certain opportunities or perks? I mean, what does it take to get those ideal people within your organization?
Well, just to put it in terms of context, we don't struggle getting people interested in working for Comcast. I think the beauty of our situation is we're seen as a technology and innovation company. There, we've got plenty of opportunities not only within the cable side of the house, but within the content side of the house. So, we're an interesting organization to work for. In fact, just to put it into context, we have over 1 million applicants each year, and close to 100,000 come to our care queues. So from a frontline call center perspective, we've got a lot of traffic. Now, as these roles evolve, I think a couple of things that are of interest to candidates as they're looking for opportunity is we have a national footprint. One of the attractive features of working for Comcast is that, if you want to move or you're in a situation where you think you may be mobile, we have an enterprise footprint. We find this to be true with our military spouses. So one of the segments of the population where this has worked really well for us is in the military community with military spouses who are looking for opportunities to work virtually, which we can accommodate in our care queue. And then also, offering them the prospect of, potential movement should they have to move with their families. We've got opportunities across the enterprise. So the ability to work virtually here, if you're in a care channel, is very real. One of the other pieces that we hear time and time again is attractive is people get the value of our products and services. And as an employee here, one of the features that quite frankly we leverage as part of our product advocacy initiative is that we want you to have our products and services, so we provide them at discount so that you can touch and feel exactly what it is our customers experience and be part of our efforts to constantly improving our product suite. So that's something that we know is attractive to people as they consider the many the many benefits of working here versus elsewhere.
Now, earlier in the conversation, you talked about the impact of technology. As you have digital channels, that's going to change the way you communicate with customers. As you have automation continuing to move to the forefront of a lot of the transactional conversations, that's going to change the types of issues that your customer-facing employees really deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I'm wondering if you could dive a little bit deeper into what some of those changes look like, and more importantly, how you're preparing for that. Because even if you have the right people, there's still some workflow and process changes that you're going to need to make to be able to, I think, keep up with the impact of technology on the customer experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do. We have a lot of automation and a lot of changes happening in the tools suite. So just kind of break it into two buckets. In terms of the employee tools, so what agents, frontline agents, what our retail, what our technicians are dealing with every day, there's work underway to simplify our tool suite. So, the good news is we've got probably more tools available to our employees today to better understand our customers and to triage and to service them more quickly. But the improvements around those tools integrating continue to be something that is underway. We also have, obviously, a lot of work happening even among people leaders, with the tools that our leadership uses, whether it's our HR platform, which is right now being transformed and actually transitioned to another vendor to be much more self-service driven, to a lot of our coaching platforms, which are available to people leaders to provide more targeted coaching to frontline agents and representatives. So there's a ton of improvement being made in those particular tool sets. From a customer-facing standpoint, you can say that we continue to focus on how can we make it easier for our customers by moving as much as possible into our products. So that literally if a product doesn't work, the product knows it's not working and heals itself. And to the degree it can't heal itself, it's proactively reaching out to our customers through messaging to say there's a problem, here's what we direct you to do. In addition to that, obviously, we continue to grow our self-service suite by reaching out to multiple channels to make sure there's availability for our customers to reach out to us however they want to, whether they want to call, whether they want to engage with us in a chat, whether they want to go on the web or access any of our apps. So a lot of these initiatives are intended to deliver what I would consider an experience that's available when a customer wants to engage with us on their terms through whatever device or mechanism. And to the degree that we're simplifying the tool set and the way of interacting with our customers, we're looking to do the same internally with our own employees and creating kind of a level of simplicity and ease of use within the company as we reach out to that customer base.
So earlier in the conversation, I referenced the idea of cliches, and one cliche that we all know within the customer experience space is that happy agents equal happy customers. We hear it all the time, but I wonder from your perspective, as someone who really focuses intently on the role of the employee and how they dial back to the overall customer experience, is creating these happy agents really the sufficient goal? Is that what we should be striving for? Or is this idea of employee engagement something bigger and broader than just happiness?
Yeah, I think it's not about happy. I think really employee engagement is about two things, really. I think it's, one, setting people up for success. People, regardless of level, want to be successful in their role. And so we measure that level of engagement through a couple of different mechanisms, but we've got, questions that center on tools, on authority, on process. So employees largely want to have the tools to do their job, and they want those tools to work. They want simple processes so they know what to do in any given situation. And then they want the authority to act. And I think if you can get those three things right, and those are three common kind of indices for engagement for us, then you're setting the employee up for success. I think the second area is they want to be heard. So not only do they want to be successful, but they want to be heard. And the beauty of the situation we find ourselves in is that we are now fully deployed on Net Promoter System. So that's a system where there are natural mechanisms for obtaining not only the customer voice, but the employee voice. And our frontline knows what's broken. Our frontline knows where there's customer pain. They haven't really had a formal mechanism of being able to relay those challenges to people within the organization to kind of galvanize activity to solution against large systemic problems. And now we have that system in place. So when I think about, happy employees are happy customers, I think engaged employees who are set up for success and who are being heard actually translate to happy, delighted customers.
And so I think you broke out the two buckets that really define engagement through your eyes, through your company's eyes. But what are some tips for actually improving those forms of engagement and allowing agents to be set up for success, allowing them to be heard? Because I think most would agree that those are great ambitions. Those really do make sense. But what are some tips for actually making them more empowered for success and allowing them to be more heard by your organization?
Mm-hmm. Well, for us, it's a matter of solutioning against what we're seeing coming up through our elevations. And like I said, a lot of those center around policies or process or broken tools or defects in some of our products or systems. And so our ability to solution against that and empower the agents by those fixes and getting back to them with recommendations for how we're going to go about making changes so that they realize that what they said mattered, was taken seriously, was actioned against, and that we're actually putting improvements back into the system is the proof point. That's something that has come to light for us in the last year through our NPS system, is that when people see elevations actually getting solved, they start to believe that the company is serious about changing the dynamic with its customers, and that's kind of what we're living right now. We've had a couple of examples of things that bubbled up in the hurricane with some fixes to get back to customers to make sure that they had connectivity during some of our storm outages, where employees at the very ground level relayed an elevation. It was very quickly solutioned, and it was launched nationwide to help other customers in similar outage situations. That's just one example that's very palatable to people around our intent to get better, and that they're at the heart of that.
And there you go. I think the fact that you really are not just, again, you not only have a very pragmatic and practical and impact-driven vision for the role of the employees, but you're actually thinking about specific action steps, process changes, technology changes that can make it happen. That is exactly why we're so thrilled to have you joining us at the Exchange this May, why I was thrilled to have the chance to speak with you today. So Mel, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you, Brian. I'm looking forward to the conversation later in the spring.
Definitely, and so are we. And again, if you're not signed up for the event, definitely inquire. The fact is, We're going to have so many great thought leaders in the room, so many great people to benchmark against, network with, really understand what it takes from an executive, from that high-level perspective, to mobilize your organization, to build a customer-facing entity, to make it so that your employees, your systems, your technology, your overall vision is all steering in the right direction, that you're not making those little mistakes as well as not making those big fundamental flaws with the organization, but are instead saying, we know the customer experience is important. We know that it starts from all corners of our organization. Here's what we have to do to make that impact. That's what the exchange is all about. Clearly, that's what Mel and Comcast are all about. And at CCW, that's the mindset we want to recommend as well. So for CCW Digital, this has been Brian Cantor.